This video is about Claude Code and how you might use it for software development. So I will focus on using the Claude Code CLI in my shell, in my terminal, but I will use it for coding. You can use this tool also for many other things, as you can do also with several other large language models and tools around AI, but here we will focus on the coding part. My name is Elmar Brauch. I'm software developer and AI architect in Deutsche Telekom. We explore AI tools and try to build business logic with it, and that's what makes Claude Code especially interesting for me. I have it already set up in my IDE, or let's say precisely it's in my terminal, in my shell. So if I type here Claude, I can use it. I just have IntelliJ here to maybe have a look in the code, which is produced by Claude Code, but you don't need an IDE to use Claude Code, since it is a tool for the shell. There's also a version which you can install in your IDE, but here I just focus on the terminal version. Okay, so the first thing after starting Claude, I have it installed up front, is I type /model to select the large language model I want to use. And here we can see there are a bunch of available models from Anthropic. So that's one difference to something like GitHub Copilot. In Copilot you have like all models of any provider, and here we are focused on the models from Anthropic. But probably that's also the advantage of Claude Code. It's a product from Anthropic using Anthropic models, so probably they will know best how to use their models. Let's use Claude Sonnet in this video to have it also fast. If you want the AI to think more, you might use an Opus model, but I will go now here with Sonnet. And before I start typing /init to initialize a new Claude markdown file for my code base. So now the AI and Claude Code is analyzing my code base and documenting in a file what to know about it, and that will speed up further requests so that this doesn't need to be done all the time from the scratch. Or if I want to clear my session and start again chatting without the history of all the previous messages, then this file still exists and can be used. So right now you see Claude is analyzing my code base, having a look in all potential files and so on, and at some point it will be done and will create a Claude markdown file which describes this project. Now it's ready. Before it creates a file, for me it's always asking for permission. So I say yes, allow all edits during the session to really speed things up. I can also see here like the thinking process and the reading process of Claude Code. Can dive in this further, but let's just look at the result. The Claude Code file is here. And that is what makes it interesting using it in an IDE, then you can always watch the created files. So this is now like a summary of this project, and it's a pretty short summary. So it's not so verbose, which is probably good, but that is really the prompt which they have behind this in it. And to me this looks like a good summary. But to make this a bit more understandable and that we don't have to read this big file now, let's say give me a 3-sentence summary about this code base. That's something the AI can like always do, and here we get like an answer. This is a Spring Boot 3x REST API demo project built with Java 21, created for a Udemy course. Okay, let's start some coding with Claude Code. Instead of reading further this summary here, I just paste a prompt which I prepared up front. handle to-do comments in product controller, and you can also select a folder by starting with add, and then you can like build a proper reference for Claude. Otherwise it has to search this file, and that makes it like a bit faster. So I can say add, and then I browse here through the files, source, and here we have now the full path. Okay, so and then we can just execute this command, and now the AI will deal with the issues in this file. We can have a look at the file as it is right now. Though here we have a to-do about adding a new endpoint, and this happened right away. And there is also like a bug in the code, which is here, and this has to be fixed. Let's see what the AI is doing. Yeah, it made already 2 changes, so the bug is probably also now already fixed. And yeah, with that being said, we have already completed the first demo part. It was now super fast, but here we can also see in the session the changes it made. I have upfront configured some MCP servers, and if you type /MCP, you can have a look what I configured. I have Telecontext MCP server, which is something which gives me access to the internal knowledge of Deutsche Telekom, for example, to read a Jira ticket, which I want to implement next. And I pre-installed a plugin called Playwright to use my browser, and that's something I can see when I type /MCP. I don't want to configure them now, they are both connected, so that should be fine. In general, if you start with / you get always the available commands in Claude Code, and that is something which surprised me personally really, because it's really a huge amount of commands what you have here. So let's now do one MCP case, and that is implement Jira ticket MacBus 118893. Now let's see if Claude Code is capable of understanding that it needs to use for this Telecontext server. That's something it figured out. So whenever it uses something the first time, I'm asked if I give permission to it. So do I allow it to use Telecontext to search Telekom's Jira, and I will do that. But I will also show you the Jira ticket. So here this is this ticket which I prepared, and it's about adding an order capability to this existing REST API. And there are some details explained about how this order should look like. Let's skip this for now, reading it in detail. Let's just use Claude Code for the implementation. Telecontext is built like this, that it will use several commands to read the Jira ticket. The first one is to get all available tools, and the second one is then to use the tool to read a ticket from Jira. But that's the detail. Every MCP server might have different tools, might work in a different way. So that's just how Telecontext is used to read Jira tickets. And now it's analyzed the ticket. It's now thinking about the code base and will probably implement this. Okay, the implementation of this Jira ticket is done. Okay, the last thing I want to do now is I want to add a small HTML page to this project, which creates an order using the previous implementation of the Jira ticket we implemented in the step before. And I want Claude Code to use a Playwright plugin to test this in my browser, because Claude Code can actually do things for you. Let's have a look at this. I installed the Playwright plugin up front. You can type /plugin to have a look on all available plugins. You can have a look at the installed plugins. You see I don't have much right now installed. There is a marketplace with available plugins. That's all behind this plugins. command. But now let's really use this plugin by pasting the prompt and just executing it. Now Claude Code will first of all create this new order HTML page, and it will put it in this resources static folder. That's like default way to work in a Spring Boot project and a web application. So this is creating now, but after some time it will decide to start the application so that it can use afterwards Playwright to test it. So here we see now the order HTML file is created. I allow once again all edits in this session. Sometimes Claude is also giving you tips about things to do to manage the memory and so on. That is something you could keep in mind, and that's also one difference from my point of view to other AI coding tools. For example, in GitHub Copilot, you don't have so much possibility to fine-tune things and manage things. There's more that the application is doing it for you, and Claude Code offers you more things to do. Which makes it probably very interesting for the real advanced cases, but the question might be, is everyone really needing this? So, has the application already started? Here it says, okay, the application has started, we can see it here, and now it wants to use Playwright to open this in the browser. Let's allow this. Here we see now the browser opened, and I will manage now my window a bit so that we can see both things. And of course I will allow Playwright to continue doing things. Playwright has a bunch of tools, and that's why it needs at the beginning allowance for all. You see it fills now stuff in the browser, creates an order. We see here it was successful, and that is really a thing what I liked a lot about Claude Code, because it was super easy to set up this Playwright. I didn't show this in the video, but when I did this by myself up front, it was not a big deal. Here in this video we have just seen how to use it. So now we can see Claude Code is further testing the application, not just creating a single order, probably creating more than one order. But that's all I wanted to share with you. Feel free to check out Claude Code. It might be really the most advanced coding tool. What I can say for sure is that the Claude models for coding, the Sonnet and the Opus, are really strong models in coding, which are really used a lot by me and my co-workers at Deutsche Telekom. See you next time.